Captain Allison Wright stood on the bridge of the EDF Reliant, watching as the massive space station grew larger on the view screen. The ship's metal hull creaked as it moved through space. The sound was familiar and almost comforting to her after 15 years of service aboard this vessel. "Proxima Station in visual range, Captain," said Lieutenant Peter Garcia, his fingers moving across the outdated control panel. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Maintain approach vector," Allison replied, straightening her navy blue uniform. The Reliant was not a pretty ship. Its hull was scarred from decades of service and repairs. Compared to the sleek alien vessels surrounding Proxima Station, the human ship looked like an ancient relic. That was exactly what made Allison smile. 50 years had passed since the devastating war with the Araxian Empire. Humanity had withdrawn from galactic affairs after that conflict, focusing on rebuilding their shattered worlds. Now finally, Earth had been invited to join the Galactic Concordat, an alliance of 23 spacefaring species. This summit would determine humanity's place among the stars. "Captain, we're receiving transmission from Proxima Station. They're assigning us Docking Bay 47, lower level," reported Communications Officer Maria Kelly, her voice tinged with annoyance. "Lower level. How thoughtful of them," Allison said with a slight smile. "Acknowledge the assignment and proceed." Ambassador. Gregory Bennett entered the bridge. His gray hair matched his formal suit, and deep lines marked his face from years of diplomatic service. "Captain Wright, are we prepared for our grand entrance?" he asked, moving to stand beside her. "As ready as we'll ever be, Ambassador. Though, I must say they're not rolling out the red carpet." Gregory laughed quietly. "That was expected. The Concordat has been watching us rebuild for decades. They think we're still licking our wounds." "Little do they know," Allison replied. The Reliant shuddered as it maneuvered toward the assigned docking bay. Through the viewports, the crew could see the magnificent alien ships. The Tauran vessels gleamed like polished silver, covered in blue energy patterns. The Vexar warships bristled with visible weapon systems. Next to them, the human ship looked like a child's toy. "Quite the welcoming committee," said Lieutenant Daniel Carter, the intelligence officer. His dark eyes scanned the alien vessels with professional interest. "I count 15 different species represented in those ships, and all of them watching us closely," added Gregory. "Remember your briefings, everyone. We are representing all of Earth today." As the Reliant docked with a dull thud, security, Chief Olivia Reyes approached the captain. Her muscular frame and watchful eyes gave her an intimidating presence despite her average height. "Captain, my team is ready for the diplomatic escort. I've selected 6 officers as requested." "Good work, Chief. Keep communications open at all times. I don't expect trouble, but we're human, so we prepare for it anyway," Olivia finished with a nod. 90 minutes later, Captain Wright, Ambassador Bennett, and their small delegation walked through the main concourse of Proxima Station. The vast space teemed with alien life forms. Some walked on many legs, others floated, and a few seemed to phase in and out of visibility. The human delegation drew stares and whispers. A group of tall, blue-skinned aliens with forearms pointed openly at their uniforms and equipment. "Those communicators are physical devices? How quaint," one of them said loudly in the common trade language. Gregory smiled diplomatically but kept walking. The humans had been briefed to expect this reaction. "Ambassador Bennett of Earth," announced a station official as they entered the Grand Council chamber, "and military attaché, Captain Wright." The vast circular room held representatives from all Concordat species. At the center stood High Chancellor Zoran, a tall, elegant being with silvery skin and eyes that changed color as they spoke. "Humans of Earth," Zoran's voice resonated without seeming to come from their mouth. "After 50 cycles of isolation, you grace us with your presence. The Concordat welcomes you as observers." "We are honored to be here," Gregory replied with a respectful bow. "And we come seeking full membership, not observer status." A low murmur spread through the chamber. A large reptilian being stepped forward. The scales on its face shifted colors as it spoke. "I am Commander Vexa Terrell of the Eye. Vex our dominion. We have concerns about admitting a species that has shown such limited development since the Araxian conflict. The commander gestured toward the viewports, where the Reliant was visible in its docking bay. Your flagship still uses fusion drives and physical armor plating. Most younglings in the Concordat learn about such technologies in history classes. Several delegates laughed openly. Captain Wright maintained a neutral expression, but her hands clasped tightly behind her back. We rebuilt according to our needs, Gregory answered smoothly. Not every species advances along the same technological path. Indeed, said Zoran. Yet membership requires certain standards of advancement. The treaty we have prepared outlines our expectations. A holographic document appeared before the human delegation. As Gregory read through it, his diplomatic smile became strained. Later, in their assigned quarters, the human delegation gathered privately. This is insulting, Olivia said, pacing the room. They want access to all our resources, technology, and research, but offer minimal protection and no voting rights for 20 Earth years. They see us as primitive, Daniel added, studying data on his tablet, and potentially dangerous if given advanced technology. The treaty effectively makes Earth a protected colony. Gregory sat heavily in a chair. They have severely underestimated us. Should we reveal our true capabilities? Asked Maria. Show them what humanity has actually accomplished? No, Captain Wright said firmly. Not yet. We follow the plan. Let them believe what they want about our technology. Daniel raised his tablet. Captain, I've detected scanning signals aimed at the Reliant. They're trying to assess our systems. Good thing we prepared for that, Allison replied with a small smile. Let them scan all they want. They'll only see what we want them to see. A chime at the door interrupted their conversation. When it opened, a small green-skinned alien with large eyes entered. Distinguished humans, I am Trill, assistant to High Chancellor Zoran. There is an emergency council session in 1 hour. Your presence is requested. What's happened? Gregory asked. A research outpost in the Cygnus sector has gone silent after reporting unusual energy readings. The council is determining a response. After Trill left, Daniel pulled up information on his tablet. Cygnus sector. That's near the border of known space, far from any major Concordat world. But only 3 days' journey for a ship like the Reliant, Allison noted, a gleam in her eye. Gregory understood immediately. You think this is an opportunity? The first rule of diplomacy, Ambassador, never waste a good crisis. Allison smiled. If the Concordat needs help, perhaps it's time to show them that outdated doesn't mean useless. The emergency council chamber buzzed with anxious voices. Representatives from all 23 species gathered around a large holographic display showing the Cygnus research outpost. Captain Allison Wright and Ambassador Gregory Bennett stood, slightly apart from the others, observing. High Chancellor Zoran raised their silvery hands and the room fell silent. The situation is grave. We lost contact with Outpost Cygnus 7, 42 standard hours ago. Their last transmission reported unusual energy readings before all communications ceased. The hologram changed to show the final data burst from the outpost. Strange energy patterns pulsed across the display. Our nearest patrol fleet is 5 days away, continued Zoran. By then, it may be too late for any survivors. Commander Vexitero's scales darkened with concern. The outpost housed 32 of our finest scientists from 8 different species. We must respond immediately. Perhaps, said Gregory, stepping forward, Earth can assist. All eyes turned to the human ambassador. The EDF Reliant can reach Cygnus 7 in 3 days, he stated, calmly. Low murmurs filled the chamber. Commander Vexitero gave a sound like a harsh laugh. Your outdated vessel? What help could it possibly provide against an unknown threat? Captain Wright stepped forward. The Reliant may not be as advanced as your ships, Commander, but we're ready and able to help. And we're the closest vessel that can reach the outpost quickly. High Chancellor Zoran's eyes shifted to a thoughtful purple color. The human offer is appreciated but perhaps unwise. Your technology may be insufficient. With Respect, Chancellor, interrupted Allison. While you debate scientists may be dying, the Reliant stands ready to depart immediately. After a tense silence, Zoran nodded. Very well. The human vessel will investigate, but take a Concordat observer with you. 2 hours later, the Reliant disengaged from Proxima Station. On the bridge, Captain Wright studied the updated mission briefings while Engineer Jack Morrison ran final system checks. All systems operational, Captain, reported Jack. His hands, calloused from years of mechanical work, moved confidently over the controls. Though I must say, their observer seemed disappointed by our engine room. Allison smiled. What did Representative Cree say exactly? He asked if we still used physical buttons and manual override switches. Seemed shocked we didn't have neural interfaces. Let him think what he wants, Allison replied. Lieutenant Daniel Carter approached with a data pad. Captain, I've analyzed the final transmission from Cygnus 7. There's something odd buried in the data. Explain. The energy readings don't match any known phenomenon in the Concordat database, but they do share similarities with something we encountered during the Araxian War. Allison's expression hardened. Are you certain? No, but the pattern resonance is too close to ignore. Keep this between us for now. Continue your analysis. The journey to Cygnus 7 took just under 3 days. Communications Officer Laura Phillips spent much of that time monitoring subspace channels, searching for any sign from the missing outpost. On the final day, she called the captain to her station. I've been picking up fragments, Captain. Not standard communications, but data packets scattered across unusual frequencies. Laura played the reconstructed audio. Strange clicking sounds interspersed with bursts of static. Is it a language? Asked Allison. I don't think so. It feels more like code. Machine code, but nothing like our systems or known Concordat protocols. Security Chief Olivia Reyes joined them, her face serious. Captain, our Concordat observer has been asking questions about our defensive capabilities. Very specific questions. Tell him what he needs to know and nothing more, ordered Allison. Standard protocol. As the Reliant approached Cygnus 7, the mood on the bridge grew tense. The outpost came into view on the main screen, a large asteroid with artificial structures built into its surface. Several sections appeared damaged. Life signs? Asked Allison. Faint readings. Maybe 10 to 12 individuals, replied Peter Garcia from the science station. Power signatures are minimal. I'm detecting an unknown vessel on the far side of the asteroid, reported Daniel suddenly. It's not moving, but energy readings suggest it's active. Allison straightened in her chair. Yellow alert. Prepare a rescue team. Chief Reyes, you'll lead. The Concordat observer, Representative Cree, watched with barely concealed skepticism. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he said, Captain, perhaps we should wait for proper Concordat forces. Your ship lacks advanced medical facilities for potential survivors. We have what we need, Allison replied firmly, and those people don't have time to wait. 30 minutes later, Olivia led a team of 6 security personnel and 2 medical officers toward the outpost in a shuttle. Engineer Jack Morrison accompanied them to assist with any technical issues. Approaching Docking Bay 3, reported Olivia over the comm. The main bay is too damaged to use. Back on the Reliant, Laura Phillips continued monitoring communications. Captain, those strange transmissions are getting stronger. They're coming from the unknown vessel. Daniel looked up from his station with alarm. Captain, the vessel is powering up. Energy signatures rising rapidly. Red alert, ordered Allison immediately. Olivia, expedite that docking. Get our people inside now. As the shuttle completed its docking procedure, the unknown vessel emerged from behind the asteroid. Its design was unlike anything in Concordat. Records, a dark, angular shape with pulsing red lines across its hull. It's charging weapons, reported Daniel. Configuration unknown, but power levels are significant. Representative Cree's 4 eyes widened in alarm. Captain, the Reliant cannot stand against such a vessel. We must retreat and we will not abandon our people. Allison cut him off. Shields up. Bring us between that ship and the outpost. The Reliant moved into defensive position as the alien vessel approached. They're firing! Shouted Daniel. The impact rocked the Reliant violently. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Shields holding at 60%, reported Peter. But another hit like that. Inside the outpost, Olivia's team moved carefully through damaged corridors. They found the first survivors. 3 alien scientists huddled in a secured lab. We're from Earth, Olivia explained, helping a wounded Tauran scientist. We're here to evacuate you. Earth? The scientist replied, weakly. But you're not. They're coming back. They took the others for study. Who did? What happened here? Asked Jack. Before the scientist could answer, the outpost shook violently. Chief, the captain needs you back at the shuttle immediately, came Laura's voice over the comm. We're under attack. On the bridge of the Reliant, Allison gripped the arms of her command chair as another blast struck the ship. Shields at 30%, reported Peter. One more hit and they're gone. Representative Cree looked terrified. This is why primitive vessels should not. Enough, snapped Allison. She pressed a button on her chair and spoke clearly. Computer, authorization right Alpha 70, disable protocol Echo. The bridge lights dimmed momentarily, then returned brighter than before. New control panels slid out from hidden compartments, and the main view screen's resolution sharpened dramatically. What is happening? Gasped Cree. Lieutenant Carter, bring primary defense systems online, ordered Allison calmly. Reaction drives. To full power. Daniel smiled as he worked the new controls. Systems responding, Captain. True shields now at 100%. Weapons ready. The Reliant's hull seemed to shimmer as hidden technology activated beneath its supposedly primitive exterior. Representative Cree stared in absolute shock. This is impossible. Your ship, it's not what it appears. No, agreed Allison with a grim smile. It's not. And neither is Earth. The unknown vessel fired again. This time, instead of rocking violently, the Reliant barely shuddered. Enemy weapon impact absorbed at 97% efficiency, reported Lieutenant Daniel Carter with a satisfied smile. True shields holding. Strong, Captain. Representative Cree moved from console to console, his 4 eyes wide with disbelief. This technology, it was hidden? All this time? Captain Allison Wright ignored him, focusing on the battle. Target their weapon systems. Use pulse disruptors only. I want to disable, not destroy. The Reliant responded instantly. From hidden ports along its hull, bright blue energy beams shot toward the alien vessel. The shots hit with perfect precision, causing the enemy ship's red energy lines to flicker and dim. Direct hit, confirmed Daniel. Their weapons are powering down. Captain, our rescue team reports they found 5 more survivors, said Communications Officer Laura Phillips. They're bringing them to the shuttle now. Allison nodded. Tell Chief Reyes she has 15 minutes to complete the evacuation. The enemy vessel began to move away, its systems clearly damaged. They're retreating, said Peter Garcia from his station. Let them go, ordered Allison. But track their course. I want to know where they're headed. Representative Cree finally found his voice again. This is a deception, a violation of concordant disclosure protocols. For 50 years, your people have hidden your true technological capabilities from the galaxy? Allison turned to him calmly. We disclosed exactly what the Concordat asked for. You assumed our technology was primitive because our ships look older than yours. That was your mistake, not our deception. Before Cree could respond, Laura called out, Captain, the rescue team is under attack, unknown hostiles inside the station. On screen, ordered Allison. The main view screen switched to Olivia's helmet camera feed. She and her team were pinned down in a corridor near the docking bay. Strange humanoid figures with metallic skin advanced toward them. The humans' weapons seemed to have limited effect. We need backup, Olivia's voice came through. Can't reach the shuttle with the wounded. These things are like nothing I've seen before. Engineer Jack Morrison was working on a side panel near Olivia. Captain, I think I can overload the local power grid. Might create enough of a distraction. Do it, ordered Allison. She turned to Daniel. Prepare transport systems. Cree gasped again. Transport? You have matter transmission technology? On the screen, Jack finished his work on the panel. Suddenly, the corridor lights exploded in a shower of sparks. The metallic humanoids paused, their attention diverted. Now! Shouted Olivia, and her team hurried forward, carrying the wounded aliens. They're almost at the shuttle, reported Laura. But more hostiles are converging on their position. Allison made a quick decision. Activate transport system, get them out of there. Daniel worked quickly at his new control panel. Locking on, transport activated. On the screen, Olivia and the others began to shimmer with blue light. Seconds later, they vanished, just as more metallic humanoids rounded the corner. Transport complete, confirmed Daniel. All personnel and survivors recovered. A moment later, Olivia's voice came over the comm system. Rescue team safely aboard, Captain. We have 8 survivors total. Medical is treating them now. Well done, Chief, replied Allison. What can you tell me about those hostiles? They're like nothing in our records, said Olivia. Not fully mechanical, not fully organic. The survivors called them sentinels and seemed terrified of them. Representative Cree sank into a vacant chair, his usual confidence completely gone. Sentinels? He whispered. That's impossible. They're just ancient legends. Legends? Asked Allison. Stories from before the Concordat formed, explained Cree. An ancient species that supposedly vanished 20,000 years ago. They were said to harvest other species for study and experimentation. Well, they don't seem very vanished to me, said Allison grimly. Mr. Garcia set course back to Proxima Station maximum speed. Aye, Captain. As the Reliant pulled away from the asteroid, Allison turned to Cree. I think it's time we had an honest conversation about Earth and the Concordat. 3 hours later, in the ship's conference room, Allison sat with her senior officers and Cree. The Concordat representative had been silent for most of the journey, processing what he had witnessed. Why? He finally asked. Why would Earth hide its true capabilities all these years? Ambassador Gregory Bennett, who had joined them, answered. After the Araxian War, we realized something important. Advanced technology on display makes you either a threat to be eliminated or a target to be conquered. So we made a strategic decision, continued Allison. Our ships would look outdated on the outside while housing our most advanced systems within. The perfect disguise. Engineer Jack Morrison, now back aboard and cleaned up from the rescue mission, added, It wasn't easy. We had to develop technology that could be completely shielded from external scans. But the treaty, said Cree. The Concordat offered Earth protection in exchange for technology sharing. Gregory laughed softly. A treaty that would have made Earth a protectorate, with no real voice in Concordat affairs. And the protection offered would have arrived too late if we faced a real threat, just like at Cygnus 7. The humans aboard the outpost, said Olivia, entering the conference room. They're stable now. But what they told me is disturbing. The Sentinels weren't just studying the scientists. They were extracting information about all Concordat worlds. Laura Phillips brought up a data display. I've analyzed the transmissions. We intercepted. They contain detailed scans of Concordat defense systems, planetary shields, everything. They're planning something big, said Daniel. And based on how easily they disabled that outpost, the Concordat isn't ready. Cree looked from one human to another. And Earth? Is Earth ready? More ready than you know, replied Allison. But we can't face this threat alone. No one can. The Reliant dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Proxima Station. On the main view screen, the massive space station looked exactly as they had left it. But something was different. Captain, said Peter urgently. I'm detecting multiple ships approaching the station. Signature matches the vessel that attacked us. How many? Asked Allison, standing quickly. 7. No, 9 vessels. They're moving into attack formation. Ambassador Gregory looked at Cree. Still think Earth needs Concordat protection? Cree straightened up, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly as he made a decision. Captain Wright, I formally request Earth's assistance on behalf of the Galactic Concordat. Allison nodded and pressed her communication badge. Right to Proxima Control. This is the EDF Reliant. You have multiple hostile vessels on approach. Prepare for immediate attack. She turned to her bridge crew. Battle stations. All true systems online. Let's show the galaxy what humanity's outdated fleet can really do. As alarm signals blared throughout Proxima Station, the Reliant's outer hull began to change. The seemingly patched and worn plates shifted, revealing sleek, advanced armor beneath. Weapon ports opened along its length, and a soft blue glow enveloped the ship. On the Concordat command deck, High Chancellor Zoran and Commander Vex Terrell watched in shock as the primitive human vessel transformed before their eyes. "Impossible," whispered Vex Terrell. "No," replied Zoran, their eyes shifting to an astonished gold. "Not impossible, just human." The 9 Sentinel vessels moved toward Proxima Station with frightening speed. Their dark hulls absorbed the light around them, making them look like moving shadows against the stars. "Concordat defense ships are responding, but they're scattered," reported Lieutenant Daniel Carter. "Station shields are at maximum, but they won't hold against a concentrated attack." Captain Allison Wright stood calmly on the bridge of the transformed Reliant. "Position us between the lead Sentinel ship and the station. Open a channel to Proxima Command." The main screen switched to show High Chancellor Zoran and Commander Vex's Terrell. Both alien leaders stared in shock at the human captain and her now clearly advanced vessel. "This is Captain Wright of the Earth Defense Force. We've engaged these hostiles before and know their capabilities. Request permission to coordinate defense." Vex Terrell's scales darkened with anger. "You deceived the entire Concordat. Why should we?" "Permission granted," interrupted Chancellor Zoran. "All Concordat vessels will follow your lead, Captain Wright." Allison nodded. "Transmitting tactical data now. These ships are strong but have a weakness in their power distribution nodes. Target the junction points between the red energy lines on their hulls." As the Reliant moved to intercept the lead Sentinel vessel, Laura Phillips worked frantically at her communications station. "Captain, I'm picking up a transmission from Earth. They received our emergency signal." "Put it through," ordered Allison. Admiral Frank Donnelly appeared on a side screen. His weathered face looked grave. "Captain Wright, status report. 9 hostile vessels, Admiral. The Sentinels have returned. We're engaging now with Concordat forces, but we're outnumbered." The Admiral nodded. "Understood. The Second Fleet has been activated. Support will arrive in 18 hours. Hold the line, Captain." "Second Fleet?" whispered Representative Cree, who remained on the bridge. "Earth has more ships like this?" The first Sentinel vessel fired at the Reliant. The human ships advanced. Shields flared bright blue but held strong. "Return fire," ordered Allison. "Target their power nodes as discussed." The Reliant's weapons lashed out with precision. Blue-white energy beams struck the junction points on the Sentinel ship. The enemy vessel shuddered, its red energy lines flickering. 2 Concordat ships joined the attack, focusing their fire on the same points. After a sustained barrage, the Sentinel vessel's lights went dark, and it drifted powerless. "One down," said Daniel. "But the others are changing formation. They're learning." 3 Sentinel vessels converged on Proxima Station's main docking area. Their combined weapons fire hammered against the station's shields. Station shields failing in Section 7, reported Peter Garcia. "They're going to break through." Allison made a quick decision. "Mr. Garcia, bring us in close. Chief Reyes, prepare a boarding team." "Boarding team?" questioned Cree. "Captain, that's suicide." "Not with what we're bringing," replied Olivia with a determined smile. Minutes later, Olivia led a team of 6 security personnel to the Reliant's newly revealed equipment bay. Each human donned what looked like thin, flexible armor that molded to their bodies. "Combat suits activated," Olivia announced as her helmet formed around her head from seemingly nowhere. "Shields at maximum, weapons charged." On the bridge, Allison watched as the Reliant maneuvered dangerously close to the station's compromised section. "Transport when ready," she ordered. In a flash of blue light, Olivia and her team materialized inside Proxima Station near the breached area. They immediately encountered Sentinel boarders, the same metallic humanoids from the research outpost. "Remember? Target their central processing units," ordered Olivia over the team comm. Short, controlled bursts. The humans moved with practiced efficiency. Their advanced combat suits allowed them to match the Sentinel's speed and strength. Station security forces watched in amazement as the supposedly primitive humans cut through the invaders with ease. Back on the Reliant, Ambassador Gregory Bennett entered the bridge. "Captain, Chancellor Zoran is requesting our assistance in evacuating the council chambers. Several high-ranking officials are trapped." Allison nodded. "Mr. Carter, take transport control. Get our people out of there once they've secured the breach, then focus on the council chambers." Outside, the space battle intensified. 3 more Sentinel vessels had been disabled by the combined human and Concordat forces, but at a cost. 4 Concordat ships drifted in space, badly damaged. "Captain," called Laura urgently, "I'm detecting a power surge in the lead Sentinel vessel. It's massive." "All ships, evasive maneuvers," ordered Allison. The lead Sentinel ship erupted with blinding red energy that lashed out in all directions. 2 more Concordat ships were hit, directly, and exploded. "What was that?" demanded Cree. "Some kind of overload weapon," answered Jack Morrison from the engineering station. They sacrificed 1 ship to damage many. The remaining Sentinel vessels pressed their attack with renewed vigor. The Reliant shook as multiple impacts struck its shields. "Shields at 60% and dropping," reported Daniel. "They're focusing all fire on us now." "They recognize us as the greatest threat," said Allison grimly. "Good. Keep their attention on us and away from the station." Inside Proxima Station, Olivia's team had eliminated the Sentinel boarders and was now escorting council members to safety. "This way," directed Olivia, helping a wounded Tauran diplomat. "Transport point is just ahead." Commander Vexus Terrell limped beside her, his scales pale from injury. "How did you humans develop such technology without the Concordat knowing?" "We had good reasons to keep secrets," replied Olivia, checking around a corner. "The Araxian War taught us that. Sometimes appearing weak is the best defense." "And now?" asked Vex Terrell. "Now we need to work together or we all die." On the Reliance bridge, the situation was growing dire. Shields were down to 30% and the remaining Sentinel vessels continued their relentless attack. "Captain," said Laura, "Chief Reyes reports all council members secured. Transport complete." "Good," replied Allison. "Now get us some distance. From the station. Prepare to activate the pulse drive." Cree looked alarmed. "Pulse drive? What is that?" Jack Morrison answered from his station. "Something the Concordat banned 200 years ago because they thought it was too dangerous." They were right. The Reliant moved away from Proxima Station, drawing the Sentinel ships with it. "All power to forward shields," ordered Allison. "Pulse drive charging." The ship began to vibrate as energy built up within its core. On the main screen, the Sentinel vessels continued their pursuit, seemingly unaware of what was coming. "KB, drive ready," reported Jack. "But Captain, this close to the station." "We'll direct the pulse away from Proxima," said Allison. "Target the 3 lead ships only." Ambassador Gregory gripped his chair tightly. "The Concordat will have questions about this technology. They can ask all they want after we save their lives," replied Allison. She took a deep breath. "Activate pulse drive." The front of the Reliant opened like a blooming flower, revealing a pulsing core of white-blue energy. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. Then, a wave of energy burst forth, rippling through space toward the Sentinel ships. When the energy wave hit the enemy vessels, they didn't explode. Instead, their systems simply went dark, as if every bit of power had been drained instantly. "Direct hit," confirmed Daniel. 3 Sentinel ships disabled. Cree stared at the screen in disbelief. "What did you do to them?" "Energy disruption. On a quantum level," explained Jack. "The pulse drive doesn't destroy ships, it just turns off every system they have." "Why would the Concordat ban such a weapon?" asked Cree. "It doesn't even kill." "Because," said Allison, "it can't distinguish between friend and foe. In the wrong hands, it could disable every ship in a system." Imagine what would happen if all life support systems failed simultaneously on hundreds of ships. The remaining Sentinel vessel suddenly changed course, accelerating away from Proxima Station and the disabled ships. "They're retreating," said Peter. "Let them go," ordered Allison. "They'll report back to their masters, and soon the galaxy will know that not all humans are what they seem to be." As the Reliant returned to Proxima Station, Laura received an urgent message. "Captain," she said, turning to Allison with wide eyes. "Admiral Donnelly reports that 17 more Sentinel vessels have been detected heading for Earth." Captain Allison Wright stood before the full Galactic Concordat Council, her uniform crisp despite the battle they had just survived. The Grand Chamber was packed with representatives from all member species. Many were still bandaged from injuries sustained during the Sentinel attack. "The situation is clear," Allison stated firmly. 17 Sentinel vessels are heading for the Sol system, for Earth. They will arrive in less than 4 days. High Chancellor Zoran, now recovered from the shock of the attack, addressed the council. "Captain Wright has provided evidence that these Sentinels have been gathering information on all Concordat worlds. This is not just an Earth problem. It is a threat to our entire alliance." Commander Vex's Terrell stepped forward, his scales now a determined orange color. "The human vessel saved this station and many of our lives. I propose we assemble a joint defense fleet immediately." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber, but some voices raised in opposition. "How can we trust humans who have hidden their true technology from us for decades?" asked a tall, insect-like representative. "Perhaps they even attracted these Sentinels with their forbidden technology." Ambassador Gregory Bennett addressed this concern. "Our deception was about survival, not malice. After the Araxian War, we rebuilt in secret because we learned a harsh lesson. Appearing too advanced makes you a target. Appearing too primitive makes you a victim. We chose a third path." Allison continued, "Right now, none of that matters. What matters is that Earth stands as the first line of defense against a threat that will eventually come for all of you. Will the Concordat stand with humanity, or will you leave us to face this alone?" High Chancellor Zoran's eyes shifted to a resolute blue. "The Concordat will stand with Earth. I call for an immediate vote." The vote was overwhelmingly in favor of sending aid. Within hours, 23 Concordat vessels, the best from each member species, prepared to depart for Earth alongside the Reliant. On the bridge of her ship, Allison reviewed the battle plans with her crew and the newly formed Alliance fleet. "The Second Fleet has already deployed to these defensive positions around Earth," she explained, pointing to a holographic display. "Admiral Donnelly reports that 6 more ships from our reserve fleet have been activated." "Reserve fleet?" asked Cree, who had requested to remain aboard the Reliant as liaison. "Just how many ships does Earth have?" Engineer Jack Morrison smiled slightly. "Enough, and each with different specialties. The Reliant is actually one of our older designs." Communications. Officer Laura Phillips received an incoming transmission. "Captain, it's Admiral Donnelly. He's requesting a private channel." Allison moved to her ready room. The Admiral's face appeared on her screen, his expression grave. "Captain, I have troubling news. Our deep space probes detected not 17, but 34 Sentinel vessels. They split their formation to deceive us. Half are still heading for Earth. The others changed course toward the Toran homeworld." "They're dividing our forces," realized Allison. "Exactly. And there's more. The survivors from Cygnus 7 have been debriefed. The Sentinels aren't just studying us, they're cataloging species for harvesting. This is an invasion force." Allison's face hardened. "I'll inform the fleet. We need to split our forces as well." When she returned to the bridge, Allison shared the new information. Commander Vex Terrell immediately offered to lead the defense of the Toran homeworld. "My people will stand with the Torans," he pledged, "but we will need some of your human technology to have any chance of success." Allison looked to Ambassador Gregory, who nodded. "Send Engineer Morrison with them. He can upgrade their defensive systems with our pulse technology." Jack looked surprised but nodded firmly. "I'll prepare the necessary equipment." As the combined fleet approached the halfway point to Earth, they received the first transmissions from the front lines. The battle had already begun. Earth Defense Force has engaged the Sentinel fleet in the outer solar system, reported Laura. Admiral Donnelly is holding them at Saturn's orbit. On the main screen, they watched as human ships, each with a different design but all previously disguised as outdated vessels, revealed their true forms. The Earth ships fought with incredible coordination, using tactics that confused and split the Sentinel forces. "Look at that," whispered Kree in amazement. "They're adapting their attack patterns constantly. The Sentinels can't predict their movements." Allison nodded. "Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology. It was our unpredictability." 3 days later, the Reliant and its allied fleet arrived at Earth. The battle was still raging, but the situation had grown dire. 7 human ships had been destroyed, and the Sentinels had broken through to Mars' orbit. "All ships form up on the Reliant," ordered Allison. "We'll approach from Vector 7 and catch them in a crossfire with Admiral Donnelly's forces." The combined human and alien fleet moved as one, their weapons ready. As they approached the battle zone, they saw the Earth ships fighting with desperate courage. One human vessel, heavily damaged, deliberately rammed a Sentinel ship, destroying both in a blinding explosion. "For Earth," called Allison, and the Alliance fleet charged into battle. The fight was brutal. Sentinel vessels showed no fear, no hesitation. 3 more Concordate ships were destroyed in the first engagement, but gradually the tide began to turn. "Captain," called Daniel from his station, "I'm detecting a power surge in the lead Sentinel vessel. It's similar to what we saw at Proxima, but much larger." "They're going to overload," realized Allison. All ships maximum distance. Most Alliance vessels managed to pull back, but 2 were caught in the massive energy wave that erupted from the Sentinel ship. They vanished in silent flashes of light. In the aftermath of the explosion, an unexpected opportunity appeared. The Wakir, remaining Sentinel vessels clustered tightly together, as if receiving new orders. "They're vulnerable," said Allison. "All ships with pulse technology, target that formation now." 5 human vessels and the Reliant fired their pulse drives simultaneously. The combined energy wave washed over the Sentinel formation. One by one, their systems failed, leaving them dark and powerless. The bridge crew of the Reliant cheered, but Allison remained focused. "Any word from the Toran homeworld?" she asked Laura. "Incoming transmission now, Captain. It's Engineer Morrison." Jack's tired but triumphant face appeared on screen. "Captain, we did it. Commander Vexus Terrell's forces held the line. We adapted the pulse technology to their defense grid. When the Sentinels came within range, we shut them all down at once. Total victory had been achieved, but at a cost. 14 human ships and 9 Concordate vessels had been destroyed. Thousands of lives had been lost." 2 weeks later, the full Galactic Concordat gathered on Earth, the first time the Council had ever met outside Proxima Station. In a ceremony attended by representatives from all species, a new treaty was signed. "From this day forward," declared High Chancellor Zoran, "Earth is recognized as a founding member of the new Concordat. Humanity's wisdom in preparing for unknown threats has saved us all." Captain Allison Wright, now promoted to Admiral, stood with Ambassador Gregory Bennett as they accepted the treaty. "The galaxy once looked at our outdated fleet and saw weakness," Allison said to the assembled delegates. "Now they understand what humans have always known. Appearances can be deceiving, and sometimes the oldest tools in the right hands are still the best weapons." As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Donnelly approached Allison with a datapad. "Long-range sensors have detected unusual energy signatures from beyond the rim of known space," he said quietly. "Much larger than the Sentinel fleet we defeated." Allison nodded calmly. "Then we'd better start preparing. But this time we won't be facing the unknown alone." She looked out at the gathered representatives of the new Concordat, former enemies and skeptics now turned allies, and allowed herself a small smile. "The real fleet," she said, "has yet to be revealed.